You touched on two things that, well, we've already discussed one, and that's the progressive line and doing it correctly, and recycling old masters or whatever until the new guy has his time in each seat. But the other thing that I took notice of, and I strongly agree with, is that if a master does well in a year, why not hold him over? Why not let him, keep his momentum and keep working on the things that he's been working on, and everybody contribute to the success of the lodge, and just take a minute, not not worry about if you're thinking that your lodge isn't healthy if you don't have a new master in every year that your lodge isn't healthy. That's a hogwash. That's just a load of that's a dirty diaper there,
Yeah.
because realistically, I think that we would probably do better if a master was in the seat for 2 years instead of one, because the first year, you know, we like to think that we plan, but herding cats is a lot different than planning, right? So that year you're just figuring out the dynamics. I mean, I tell people, when we were in officer leadership and training and teaching people, we would tell people, you should be planning from your senior deacon year up to master and start learning the dynamics of the lodge, who the shakers and movers are, blah 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 blah. But that generally doesn't happen. You're usually so caught up in trying to do your part right that you forget about the future. So that first year, you're just learning how to accept information from some people and just let information be from other people, and how you work within that dynamic to get things done.
Yeah.
So I have absolutely no issue with somebody staying over 2 years or
Once
even
you
3 years if they need to,
once you
if the
get the
lodge
hang
needs it.
once you get the hang of Martial Master, your year's done, generally. Like with the
Right.
with the 1 year terms, right around the time you're figuring out, kind of getting into the groove, understanding, hey, this isn't so bad after all. Well, guess what? It's time for you to be done anyway. And what type of organization? I'm not talking about look at like a corporation. What type of corporation would say, hey, the president, vice president, the board, you've all been doing a fantastic job, but it's been a year, so bye.
We're going to flush you out. Yeah.
We're gonna flush you out. Who would do that?
Time for new
Nobody.
blood.
Nobody. The stocks would plummet and they go bankrupt. But we do that at the
Right.
state and local level every year. And we don't have to. We don't have to.
Well, and that's a real interesting concept because, and I mean, I can only speak to my own experience, obviously, but um, here I'm a member of the Valley of Little Rock, and we had the masters there under our previous SGIG. You'd have masters for 10 years, maybe longer. Now, there's something good about some consistency, but at some point you turn into some stagnant,
Yep.
Mess.
Absolutely.
And so now our terms are all 2 years. And so the discussion has come back up, especially since it's not a normal lodge. It's a whole different dynamic. You're doing the reunions, you're doing in our case we have and I think you done most of y'all's Scottish Rite cathedrals, y'all rent y'all's facilities out there too, but we have
Yes.
rentals, we have stuff that goes on with that, and so we've got there's all these different components to the Scottish Rite. So now they've kind of looked at, was 2 years not quite long enough? Is 3 maybe the magic number? And so that's something that they're looking at. I ended up in kind of a wild way becoming a venerable master at the end of last year, and a year early. So I will somewhat have a 3-year term. And I think they're kind of looking at that to see how bad I can mess up. And if I might be pilot program, we'll see.
Yeah.
But that's actually a discussion.
Nice.
That's actually a discussion that has been had down in Little Rock is how long is too long, but how long is not long enough.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think now I'm also the guy who says throw throw the immediate past master out as quick as you can and get him. We at Ward, we throw him out the door like he's the Tyler and he's not going to hear anybody make mistakes.
Yeah.
I agree.
And when you do that, now there is something cathartic about that because you break that power right there. They can't hear. They don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But once again, that's not necessarily the answer for every lodge.
Yeah.
And it is a strange phenomenon though, because I'm a Rotarian too, and it's the same for the most part. It's the same deal. Mm-hmm. Everybody has their turn. Everybody's president, their secretary 1 year, their treasurer 1 year, vice president, president-elect, whatever you want to call it. 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year.
Yeah.
And so you'll have a great year, and then you just fall off a cliff because the guy behind had no idea what he was about to walk into, or she was about to walk into.
Absolutely. And I'm not convinced there's really a magic number. For one person, it may be 3 years. For another person, it may be 5. I don't necessarily agree with 10-year terms. I think, like you said, there's a point where things get stagnant. Even if they're well liked, they get complacent after a while. But I think it's something we should evaluate on a case by case basis. If we think someone's going to be a good leadership and they turn out not to be, maybe 1 year is all it takes. Yeah.
There's the door.
There's the door. Thanks, right. But it just didn't work out. But if they're doing a great job and if they're willing to continue serving, do another year. And you play it by ear. Don't say, hey, well, we're just going to put you up for 5 years. I mean, you legally can't do that anyway, but at least not in Texas. But play it by ear. And if this year was good and it looks like it's going to continue to be good, why run them out?